1 minute.
I guess I gotta
Are we live?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back for another edition of Reasonable Doubt, brought to you by the Harris County Criminal Lawyers Association. I'm your host, Jimmy Ardwan. We are trying a new set out tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and with my co-host, Julio Vela. You need to lose the tie, bro.
Are we taking it off?
You need to take it off.
Well, I don't know where we're going to put the mic.
You need to move it. Just move it over to the side. No, I like that. Move the mic, man. It's just going to be the two of us hanging out. We're trying a new show set up tonight, see how it works. We got Facebook Live going. I know some of you, I'm watching right here. We got a few people joining in and watching us right now. So if you got any questions, I'm going to try and keep this thing on. Hopefully it doesn't shut down. If you want to give us your questions that way and get in on the conversation, we'd prefer you call in and harass us, because that's what we need right now is you guys to call in and just give us straight up harassment. I just told you to remove your tie, and all you've done is move it around a little bit.
I thought we were going to do like after dark.
713-807-1794. I'm sorry. 713-807-1794. You can call in and harass us. You can also tweet us. I think the HCCLA Twitter is still running at HCCLA_TV, or you can hit me up directly at Jimmy Ardwan. Are you even checking your Twitter?
My phone's over there, and I think
you're not going to be able to.
Well, I think we put the wrong number. I put the wrong number on it. I think I put 93.
Yeah, that could be a problem. That could be a real problem if you do that.
There?
Yeah, we're not going to get a round oak table. All right, Eddie, just calm down, man. We're not
Is that
getting a round
Cortez?
oak table. Yeah.
Hey, Eddie.
We got what we got.
Eddie,
We
man.
got what we got.
Come on. So let me tell you a story about Eddie.
Just one?
This one time, Eddie walks in the courtroom, and he says, "I'm Eddie," and he gets not guilty.
Of course.
That's what he does.
Were you in trial this week, man? Or did you get ready and then get continued?
Yeah.
What the hell
So
happened?
nobody's ready. The only people that are ready are the defense lawyers. Nobody else is ready in the entire.
Well, because I saw you sending out all this stuff, and
My
prepping all weekend.
My brother sat with Todd DuPont
right.
and Judge Harmon's today, which I was supposed to sit as well, but I was swamped.
So this was your brother's first trial, right?
Well, my brother sat 9 with me last summer.
Oh, he did. But was he licensed as an attorney?
No.
So this is his first as a.
He's gonna get his 3 to 5 days is the bar card mail-in.
Okay.
They come back.
But
So-
he's technically.
Yeah.
Waiting for the card to arrive.
He just went for the card.
He has his number.
Went for the card.
Okay, so this was his first one as a real lawyer.
Yep.
How do you like it?
Well, defendant ended up taking a plea midway through the voir dire.
It happens.
It happens. It happens.
It does happen.
He says, "Let's go. Let's rock and roll."
So how are you liking the new setup?
I'd love it because it's one less building I have to run to.
Right.
However, it's my understanding there's some big beef between the misdemeanor judges and the felony judges. Misdemeanor judges are settling into their chambers. Okay? Settling in, they're getting, the coat racks and memorabilia.
Trinidad's telling you to remove your tie too.
All right, Trinidad.
Wait till you're finished so you can
Well, I'm just saying.
finish talking.
I'm just saying. And I was talking to some of the felony judges, and I said, well, y'all are still going to get the higher levels. You guys are going to be able to look out and see downtown and such. Just wait a little bit, let it cool off, and it'll fix itself.
So, I mean, all the misdemeanor courts are back in the CJC.
All the misdemeanor courts are back in the CJC.
My first triumphant return over there this week. It was interesting. Now, apparently the elevators, when you're going up, they don't stop on 10. But when you go down, they'll stop on 10. So we still have elevator issues.
And there's currently an over-under which elevator will stop on 10 or not. It's terrible, man. I'm telling you, man, it's absolutely terrible. it's okay in the sense of now we're finally getting to the jury trials
Right.
and the misdemeanor side, and we're finally hitting some trials. Anytime it's a court setting, if there's a trial, we're going to hit it. And all the judges and everybody's trying to get panels, and it's going real well.
I mean, it seems like it's functionally like we're okay. I mean, I haven't seen any huge backups other than
Which is surprising
Yeah.
because they put all 16 misdemeanor courts on elevator bank.
right on one elevator.
One
bank,
elevator
4
bank
floors.
that
floors.
shares a lot of the felony courts.
Yeah. But I haven't heard or seen of any like major problems. If you guys have had some, call in, let us know, or hit us up on Facebook Live and let us know.
This morning, was it me or was it not? The air condition was not turned on in the CJC. In some courtrooms,
there.
there was no air conditioning.
So it's just like being outside.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was out. I mean, you're sitting around and you're just sweating. There's no wind that's moving around or anything. It's bad.
Awful. So how's your brother liking life as a new lawyer?
He's liking it. I tell him, I say, hey,
So is he practicing with you?
every day.
What's that like?
Well, he's not practicing. He's still a law student, so he's technically not practicing.
He's passed his bar course. He's passed the bar. He's waiting for the
no.
card to get
He's
there.
a 3L. He's a 3L. He's getting his
wait.
bar. He's getting his provisional bar card.
Oh, I thought he had graduated.
No. And the other one's in Prague currently. And
Okay.
he's going to be a 2L.
All right.
He's getting his provisional bar card.
So are you giving him a good hazing?
Big hazing.
All right.
Big hazing.
Fair enough.
And he's going to start. Look, he's going to start doing resets. Dude's going to kill the resets. All
So
over
how
the
does
court.
that work? I mean, explain to everybody because a lot of people don't know how the provisional card works. How does that work for them?
So long as you're.
We might have some law students who are watching who want to know how they can
So-
get in on that game.
If you have a lawyer that can supervise you, direct you, and you have insurance for a particular type of insurance for this particular type of individual who wants to have a provisional bar card,
Right.
that individual can perform tasks under your supervision that he otherwise wouldn't be allowed to.
So he can question witnesses in a trial.
can.
Could he give an opening statement?
He could give an open statement,
Give a closing statement.
closing statement,
So he can basically,
practice,
as long as you're sitting there,
as long as
kind of like a learner's permit.
the learner's permit. Now, obviously, you'd have to clear it with the judge beforehand,
Mm-hmm.
see if there's any limitations or things that, and obviously, you're gonna have to clear it with the client.
Right. Do you have to get a special waiver to sign off on that?
There at least there's something that would be attorney-client privilege that you're talking to with the client, and then probably something that you're gonna file with the.
Yeah, because it seems to me, especially if you're doing a felony case,
Well,
you know,
that'd be kind of tough. I mean, I love my brother.
but
I'd probably say you're just gonna watch this one.
yeah.
You're just gonna watch this one, right?
Well, I mean, there's a legitimate concern of if you let a law student question somebody,
Big time.
especially a crucial witness, or what may turn out to be a crucial witness, because sometimes you don't know. People say stuff on the stand that you don't expect it coming.
You don't expect, can't plan.
I mean, that could cause a serious ineffective
Big time.
assistance of counsel issue.
That's why I think it's going to be a strong reset.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's good for you, good for your brother. I mean, that gives him a lot of experience that a lot of young law students don't get.
Close to none. You know, the law game, you have to have ends. You have to have at least somebody that helps you.
You have to have ends, and you have to have people who are willing to give you a shot.
Willing to give you a shot would be the more appropriate. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing.
Yep.
You have to have people who are willing to give you a shot to get in the game. And I don't think that a lot of young lawyers and young law students know that there's tons of opportunities out there with the massive solo practitioners that we have. They could go to them and say, hey, look, I can get my provisional bar card and really help you out. And it can be a good thing for both, I think.
Well, and that's how at least when I first started, that's how I made myself indispensable. I started being the glue that handled all the overflow of a lot of different attorneys.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, they ended up relying on me. It was a reciprocal relationship. You know, I told them, rely on me to take care of these ancillary things or ancillary projects or clients that you don't have the time to do.
Right.
Some of the So, for example, if it's a DWI, they need an occupational license or an ALR, or if it's a client and they have some sort of traffic ticket over here or over there, and you make you make these bonds, and you get this practice, and it's not cool stuff,
Yeah.
but you're in the court, you're practicing, you're building connections, and if he can get a jump start on that,
It's huge.
it's huge.
How much younger is he than you?
So he's 10 years younger than I am.
Wow.
I'll be 30. I'll be 36 in July.
So he's 26.
He's 25 at the
Okay.
moment.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, that's huge.
It's huge.
You know, so interestingly, this week there's been a lot of chatter on Twitter where a lot of experienced lawyers have been bashing law students and younger lawyers because they've been talking about, you know, that they've had stress issues in law school and all this other stuff. And there's been a lot of older lawyers coming out and saying, well, if you can't handle the stress of law school, you're not going to be able to handle the stress of practice kind of thing. And I'm kind of like, I mean, I get it. It's a reactionary thing, but it's not like we were all at that stage one time
Right.
in our life, you know?
Right.
And I think a lot of people lose sight that your stress is what the moment you're in, right? I mean, so yeah, we look back and we say, gosh, dealing with the law school stress is nothing compared to what we're dealing with now because we have all of this perspective to look at.
Well,
So I think it was I thought it was kind of short-sighted of some of these people to be attacking these law students and young lawyers on Twitter because, you know, I mean, look, everybody's got their own different perspective on deals. And I think the opportunity you're giving your brother there is huge to learn how to deal with that, to learn how to deal with a client because there are all sorts of stresses that come with dealing with a client. And he's going to have a better perspective, perhaps, than somebody who didn't get that when they were in law school, who didn't get the practical experience, who was just stuck in moot court mock trial. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing because, again, everybody's situation is different, but it gives him a huge leg up, I think.
Well, you know, yes, and law school and life are completely different. I mean,
Absolutely.
you know this.
Absolutely.
And you're exactly right when some of these older guys or some of these, and I look back, and I'm a 10-year lawyer, so I'm still very green.
Right.
It took a lot to get here to finally reach a point where you're like, okay, I can do this, I got this, and to feel comfortable in your own shoes. And when you look back when I look back to being in law school or just a puppy lawyer, or even in law school, wondering what I'm going to do when I get out, who am I going to, how am I going to make it? I wouldn't have if it weren't for a couple people that reached out and gave me that hand and pulled me up.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know anybody, man. I knew nobody. I knew zero. I knew nothing. I didn't know a soul. I was sitting there with my $99 suits on, and there's nothing wrong with a sharp $99 suit. There's nothing wrong with it.
Was it an actual suit or suit separates?
It was like suit separates, dude, at the Suit Mart. And I had enough for like 2 or 3 of them and put them on, and I was sitting, and that's how I started. And then with a few people pulling me up, brought me up. One of them, Todd DuPont, brought me up, said, you know what, come on, man. And he didn't, Todd didn't pay me nothing. It wasn't for money. It was to go in, see a trial, see how it's done. Working for free, trolling the courthouse. It feels good to be back in the CJC. I remember.
It does feel. It feels like we're almost there.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
It is kind of a nice feeling to be back.
Well, and it is a nice feeling to be back, but there's big friction between felony and misdemeanors.
Yeah, I mean,
Big friction.
that'll all sort itself out.
Big friction, bro. Big friction. I hear some of these dams are getting primaried too.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. I mean,
Now, Jimmy, I would like to stay out of the primaries.
what?
That's gonna get hot.
Why are you planning on running?
No, I am not
announcing-
running.
are you
No,
announcing your candidacy? Are you planning on
no.
primaries?
I'm not
Are you
running. I live in
jumping the
Brazoria.
frame?
No. But it's gonna get ugly, I bet. Who's up?
It could.
I mean, we have a few of them up, and I hear I hear I hear all the Dems are getting primaried.
Every single one of them?
I hear a lot of most of them are.
I haven't. I mean, I've heard
At least a
some
few.
rumors. I've heard some rumors of that.
I will say that I will say on the record that every Dem on sitting I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm okay with
mean,
and I'm good with and they're good and I'm okay with.
I don't think there's been any real issues. I mean, well, look, there's obviously some sides are creating the issue of this bond, especially the bond issue and letting people out on lesser bonds and the PR bonds. Like, what's the issue today now that just came out about this guy who might be a serial killer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I ran into Sarah Seeley
Yeah.
in the elevator and I said, "Hey, you look nice delivery on TV.
Yeah.
We have this, folks, y'all listening. We have this big of a gang deal in Houston where one individual's young man is accused of murder, is gunning down 3 people.
Right.
One of them, literally in the middle of the day, this is the accusation,
At Lamar High School.
at the high school.
Yeah.
This is This is phenomenal, as far as.
And of course, the controversy is he was let out on an extremely low bond. Look, there's no perfect solution to this thing, right? I think I think we all saw that there was going to be some potential issues here, right? The drive to let people out and do what's right, not holding people solely based on a monetary principle. But the reality is we didn't have the system in place, I don't think. We're working on getting it there. But I don't think the system is fully robust yet enough to accurately provide enough of a background for the judges to adequately make decisions at this point. I think a lot of it has been potentially, just reactionary. And we've got enough, let's do this. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong, but it's a process, we're learning. And unfortunately, this may be a situation where the worst case scenario may have happened.
I will say, I don't know if it's recent or not, or I would say in my recent experience, when I'm approaching for a bond,
Yeah.
I'm having to know who the individual is, what are his life circumstances, are there any mental health issues, are there any drug or substance abuse issues, what is his support network, and how is the community safe or not safe.
But how big is the report you're getting? The pretrial services.
The reports aren't. I think now we need our guy to come back here, head of pretrial services, to come and talk to us about it.
Sure, but I mean, I've never done one, so I'm asking you. I mean, have you seen one?
Yes. I mean, they're.
So what do they look like in state court? How big are they? How extensive are they?
The vast majority of what they're called PSAs that I see are 1 pages.
1 page.
Well, they consist of maybe 3 to 4 pages, but the summary that the judge really gets in the executive part is a page.
Okay.
And it's a paragraph.
Does it include interviews of family members?
No, it does not. It includes kind of a paper sheet score regarding their history, level of the crime, and such, and then an interpretation of an interview with the individual. Here's my problem with that. They're always so negative in the sense of the client will say, look.
You're talking about pretrial services.
The PSA.
Summary.
So it'll say something to the effect of every single one of them. Let's say I have a client, they're accused of, let's pick something, money, guns, or drugs. Mm-hmm. Pick one. Money. Great. And the client will say, look, I didn't cash this check. I don't know who it is, mm-hmm. But I know I was going through money issues at the time, and I just want to do some sort of probation on this. The report will say, client...
They made that kind of admissions?
Yes. So that's the first problem without the attorney being present. Okay? And so 2 things. So the client will either say that, or the client will say, my lawyer told me not to say anything. And both of those, in response to that, in the report will say, client shows criminal behavior by not accepting responsibility of the crime.
I mean, this isn't a sentencing report, it's a pretrial services evaluation.
Yes, man. I mean, there's these kind of things that we see. Generally, those things are coming back on the TRAS, but on the PSA,
Yeah.
there are some, I might be confusing the two, quite frankly. I think I'm confusing the two. But this is the kind of things that come back on the TRAS or the evaluations before the plea,
Yeah.
which are a problem. I think on the pre-sentence, actually, it doesn't have any communication of the defendant. It's all paper, but it's still terrible in the sense of,
So you're telling me the judge doesn't get the full 3-4 page report?
usually, I mean, I think
They should, right?
they do, but there's just one page at the end
Get
that,
the summary.
yeah, that's what everybody falls back on.
Well, I think this story is going to be obviously ruffle some feathers, with this guy
Well,
getting out on such a low bond. I mean, we've already seen other accusations in other cases.
did he get out on bond?
Yeah. No, not now.
The first time?
Yes.
Or the second time?
Yes.
Or was it the third time? I'm kidding.
Right.
I'm kidding.
Right. But this isn't the first accusation of, judges being too lenient on bonds since the new crop has come in.
Well, that's what happened. Isn't that what they said would happen? That's how the Republicans came in the last time.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm with the judges though, man. I err on this. I'm gonna say I err on the side of caution, and somebody gets killed, right? That's tough, dude.
Especially when you've got, if you're looking at somebody who has a history of violent crimes.
That's tough, man.
It's tough, And look, I mean, a lot of it's overblown. I think the problem now is we've got a lot of people, because of the way social media is, you can spin something, you can shade something, you can slant something to push whatever agenda you want, right?
Sure.
So even if it's not really what you're saying it is, you can certainly give a tweet out or manipulate a story to make it look and fit whatever your position is or whatever your agenda is, right? And I think a lot of it, I mean, Judge Chris Morton got some heat for a low bond he gave in a case. Some of the other judges, and I just think it's really easy to spin those things when you don't have all the facts. If you want to push a certain agenda about how low bonds are bad and we're not addressing violent crime, you can certainly manipulate that. But I don't think it's near as. Are there instances where there might be issues? I think clearly there may be some, but it's not this rampant problem that I think some people want to make it out to be. But I think, again, we're working through the system here. We're working through a new system, trying to make changes, and it's going to be bumps in the road, right?
Emily DeToto, who I believe is running for city council.
That's the rumor.
Emily, if you're on
Maybe it's
Facebook, pop us a line. But she made a good point. I think it was her, and she said something to the effect of, the young girl. I don't want to I don't want to misspeak her name. The one that was her remains were found in Arkansas.
Malia Davis. Yeah, I wanted
Malia
to talk
Davis.
about that case with you.
Yeah, and
Your unintentional segue is very good.
well, and Emily said, the district attorney's office is making a tweet or some sort of social media post about doing diversionary programs when there's this huge case where you have a dead, young, beautiful child. Instead of saying we're going to go after the people who kill young babies, they're posting things of, we've just recently launched this new diversionary program.
Yeah, not the best look.
Not the best look.
No.
And Quantum X.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. So,
Do we have a lava lamp?
did you just now notice?
I
the lava
just
lamp?
know we have a lava lamp.
It's been sitting next to you the entire time.
I like it.
Just noticed the lava lamp.
Is this a good look?
No, you need the tie off, but we've already gone down that road.
Oh, I have to. Oh,
Get the mic on.
yeah, I got the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may want to reposition it. No, but I do want to talk to you about that. I mean, this whole QuantLX situation. He goes in, talks to this guy, allegedly gets a confession out of him. He's not a lawyer. He's not operating under any attorney-client privilege situation. He allegedly finds out where the remains are. And then when it's all said and done, he helps lead law enforcement to the remains. I mean, there's something very...
Isn't he just an angel? I don't know, man. A lot of people are commending him for for closing this case.
It's a double-edged sword, though, in my opinion. It is. I mean, look. It's yes, okay. He was able to help locate her remains, but at what cost to the integrity of the criminal justice system?
Well, I mean, there were a few cats that sounded out and said, "Oh, well, now they're not going to be able to use his confession." And that's an injustice. And quite frankly, maybe it is. But
he's come out and vehemently denied his confession. He gave an interview to the news the other day and said he didn't kill her. So he's
defendant came on the news and said Quanell's full of bogus.
Essentially.
Are you serious?
You didn't see that?
I missed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You missed the lava lamp. So
that's amazing.
So, I mean, the problem I see is, on one hand, yes, okay, he's helped them find the remains, but on the other hand, there's a real problem with the things he does, in my opinion, and the cost to the integrity of our criminal justice system.
If I was a defense attorney or prosecution, I would say I would seek some sort of order prohibiting him from contacting my client.
But how do you do that if the guy is not represented at that point?
You can't. I mean, you can't. I mean,
that's the problem. That's the issue that I see, because I don't think he was represented at that time when Quanell got in there and talked to him.
Well,
and then, of course, there's accusations that, well, when did he learn this, and was he just sitting on this information and waiting for the reward money to go up?
Everybody thought it was the mom, anyways. Everybody thought it was the mom.
Yeah. And then you have the whole juvenile court proceedings, which are all under seal, all done under, under the cloak of darkness, so to speak.
I hear they're trying to clean out the juvenile courthouse.
Already?
Mm-hmm. They're gonna. So if anybody's watching and getting on the juvenile list, apparently they're cleaning house. There's gonna be a new wheel. There's an exam that's going to have to be taken to get on the wheel unless you're exempted via certain qualifications.
I just don't like the way this whole thing went down with Quanell. I really don't. It really bothers me.
Well, he found the body.
I hear you.
Did he sit on it? Did he know? He's not a witness in this case.
Well, now he is, yeah. Made himself a witness. I don't see how he can't be. He doesn't have privilege.
Apparently, and he also said that a family member knew. It's one of the last headlines.
He claims. I mean, there's all sorts of claims.
So let me ask you this: could he be compelled to testify as to what he knows regarding his family member? Regarding
how could he not? What privilege? What would he have to hide behind?
Priest.
Priest?
The man's the man of God.
Okay. You going to represent him on that and argue that?
I will represent him.
I don't think that's going to hold up.
Give me a call, Quanell.
I don't think that's going to hold up at all.
No?
No.
I thought he was
that's
privileged,
No. This is not going to hold up.
Regardless, though, it goes both ways. I've seen a lot of support for what he did.
I know. I mean, look, this is one of those where, obviously you're glad he helped find the remains, but at what cost? Again, at what cost has he done this at?
I wonder if they would have ever found the remains.
I don't know.
That's tough. What do you think, Magic 8?
Somebody clearly knew. Now we're going to the Magic 8 Ball. They said we could open it, if you want to open it. Do you want to?
It's not giving us good results.
What does it say?
Nothing. It's like not floating.
Is it broken? Can these things actually break? Oh no, it's saying something. It's saying, oh, it says reply hazy, try again. I think it's defective. Let's try shaking it up again.
Well, we have to ask it a specific question, I think.
Will Julio survive without a tie?
See, the collars fall.
It is decidedly so.
You see? I knew it.
There we go.
The collars
Got
fall.
an answer. See? It's good. It's a good look on you. Man.
Well, you know, it's a little
Good
casual.
look. I think
Hey, that's a little too close. It's a little too close. Okay? It's a little too close.
oh, man. We got a lot of people watching, but nobody asking any questions.
Hey, I want to hear something from Judge Andrew Wright.
Well, he's allegedly watching.
I want to hear something from Judge Andrew Wright. I want to hear a good experience from you.
What good experience are you looking for?
Well, I want to know how he's settling in his chambers.
I think he's settling in just fine.
Yeah.
He seems to have undertaken a massive interior decorating project in his chambers.
Wallpaper?
No, mostly from what I can tell, properly so. Texas Longhorn football
Sure.
memorabilia.
And animals.
Sure.
That's true, and animals. I forgot about that. That's a very good point. There have been some animal sightings.
Quail? Javelin?
His dog is quite frequently seen.
That's true. That is true.
I think his dog was actually on. Can we get that picture? I don't know if Justin can pull it up. He may not be able to. Did you see that where his dog was sitting at the bench?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was another dog on the bench. I think Judge Hill, or was it Judge Deshaun Jones?
I don't know.
Somebody else had a dog up there.
I only saw Judge Wright. I only saw his dog holding court.
Well, and I want to know what's the beef between the felony and misdemeanor judges too.
Do you think we'll actually get an answer to that?
Well, hey, so who's up for election this time? We got Judge Genesis Draper.
Well, she's got to run the special election. So
Right.
she's got to turn around, run the special election. I think Judge Jordan. I think those are the only,
And Judge Jordan.
I think those are the only two for the misdemeanor courts.
I heard there was a big suppression, I think it was a suppression issue or some sort of issue in Judge Genesis Draper's court today regarding whether or not the state has a right to a jury trial in certain cases.
Isn't that pretty well settled law?
Well, in dicta,
I thought that was pretty well settled law.
In-
Maybe I'm wrong, because
well, I think Trinidad or someone from the Flood and Lewis office. We got someone coming in?
no.
Oh,
Nobody's calling
someone from the Flood and Lewis office
false alarm.
can chime in, but that's a big one that's going on. I haven't heard anything. Judge Genesis Draper.
What's this latest motion on DWI warrants? You know about that? Come on, man. That's supposed to be your
No,
Bailey
what's
one.
going? What do you mean?
About the blood warrants.
There's something up?
Yeah.
Don't talk about it.
Huh?
No?
We're not allowed to.
Oh, it's still in lit.
Is this like Fight Club?
It's still in lit gay. Lit gay.
We're getting shut down. We're getting told not to talk about it.
We doing gag ordered.
I didn't realize we were that kind of show.
Well, what's up with the warrants though?
I don't know. Apparently we can't talk about it. We're getting told we can't talk about it. I guess. Is that the way we're gonna roll? Okay.
People trying cases though now.
How many cases have you seen tried?
A lot, dude. They're coming. They're dropping.
I mean, when I was over there earlier this week, there was a number of juries walking through the halls, which was a good sign. Seems like we're getting the panels back over there.
They're coming, and it's good pickings for, respectfully, for defense attorneys, because the state is overworked, underpaid. They're still taking in a bunch of weak, bogus cases that aren't being looked at until the last minute and having to get dumped. That's happening. I think the district attorney's office needs at least another 100 prosecutors to catch up to what's going on, and if not, it's going to be the same thing. Unless, and you know, Adia Jones is running, and she's running hard. I mean, Adia Jones, we should have her. Adia, if you're watching, you should come on the show. You talk about your platform and why you think that you're better than Kim Ogg and what she's doing now. Obviously,
Let me ask you a question.
you know,
I mean, do you really about the request for more prosecutors? Because obviously, Commissioner's Court didn't think it was needed. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that something needs to get done. Stuff's not getting uploaded into the Discovery portal fast enough. You know, I heard today that there was an issue where there was supposed to have been a prosecutor assigned to running docket while 2 prosecutors were getting ready for a trial, and that apparently didn't work out so well. Apparently nobody was around to be found to run the docket. So it does appear to me that there needs to be more warm bodies over there to help facilitate things.
well, the intake is broken. It's just broken, man.
How so?
They are accepting cases of nonsense,
I thought that wasn't supposed to happen.
arrest before inquiry, handle it in court attitude, fix it, book them, send them to court.
So is stuff not getting diverted like it's supposedly?
The divert programs that are available now, it's just more paperwork, more bureaucracy, more of nobody knows where this person
No, but I'm
supposed
talking
to go.
about the cite and release type situations where they were supposed to be automatically diverted. Of course, a lot of us in the defense bar took an issue with that because, you know, you've got this program and you're potentially diverting people around when there may have been a bad stop.
I'm seeing a
May have been
lot.
an illegal search, all sorts of stuff that is waived because somebody may just feel like, oh, hey, if I can divert around this, you know, no big deal.
The only thing that's getting
So is that
diverted,
actually happening?
The only thing that's getting diverted currently, or successfully, in my opinion, are the trespasses. All this homeless trespass. I haven't seen a homeless trespass in about 6 months. Consistently get possession of marijuana.
So okay, let me ask you about the homeless trespass thing because it seems to me they've eliminated a lot of the tent city underneath 59 right here, out here by the studio between the ballpark and the soccer studio.
From what
I can see, I mean that place used to be covered in tents.
From what I understand,
So where are they going?
is they are taking them to mills and making them into hot dogs and then selling them back to us. I'm freaking serious, man. I don't know. I really don't, dude. I don't know, man. I just haven't seen any they used to have criminal trespass pop all the time. No more
Oh,
criminal
man.
trespasses, man. And I now I consistently see possession of marijuanas. I had 2 of them today. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense cases. I consistently see driving without license invalids. They try to make
The vicious circle isn't stopping.
it's not stopping. Now, granted, we don't have the homeless trespass thing anymore, and I don't know what they do. I don't know what they do.
I'd like to know where they're going. I
There-
mean,
I have some sort of idea. There's some sort of like it's like a clearinghouse or like a big warehouse where they send them and they just process them in and process them out.
but is it like a shelter?
I think there's private. I think there's some sort of multi-group collaboration where they go and they chill out and regroup and are released. Yeah, I do.
Because I do think now in other pockets of the city, we've seen, at least I've seen, kind of a rise in some of the little mini tent cities, if you will.
Yeah.
'Cause I really don't have anything else to call them. But the big one that was under 59 seems to have been, for the most part, cleared out.
Mostly, yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen it to the extent that it has been in
While
past.
we're talking about the homeless, and Mark Eichenbaum, if you're watching, please call in or talk to us about this. Recently, I saw on NPR that the laws that prohibit providing food to the homeless is unconstitutional and is actually protected under I think it was a First Amendment type of issue. And if I'm not mistaken, Houston has municipal laws that prohibit providing food to the homeless or providing food in spots that aren't designated.
Now you're gonna make me look it up.
Look it up, man, which is a recent thing which contributed to the elimination of the tent cities, which caused them to either be placed or displaced to locations that are closer to designated serving areas. I'm not sure. However, Homelessness in Houston is a big problem, and it has been for a very long time.
Well, it's a big problem in a lot of major cities, and it seems to only be getting worse. Now, we're not as bad as the problem is in California and LA and San Francisco. It's horrible.
I heard San Francisco's getting out of control.
It's out of control.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely out of control. It's so bad in LA that there are some people who are saying that this summer LA could have a true infectious disease program because of all the human feces and
Like zombies?
yeah,
It's wild.
yeah.
It's wild, man.
So I mean, thankfully, I don't think we're anywhere near that.
It does get pretty hot here.
It does. It
There's
does.
so many homeless downtown, and I don't know what this. You know, Austin. There was an article, I believe, either in the Wall Street Journal or Forbes, where Austin is fighting its homeless population with music.
What do you mean with music?
I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding. No,
I thought you meant like what they do where
yeah, kumbaya, you
they
know.
blast Guns N' Roses to try and chase people off.
No, from what I understand though, in Austin they're creating these little tiny house villages, and they're solving the homelessness problem by providing homes and communities and connections to people.
Okay, here we go.
That's what they say.
So here we have a new legal challenge. This was filed in, it looks like, in May to take on the ban against sharing food with the homeless. So you're right.
How do we cure homelessness in Houston, man? I mean, the jails are filled with 80% of homeless, mental illness individuals.
I don't know how you cure it.
I don't know how we cured it.
I don't think there is a absolute way to cure it. I mean, you're going to have. I mean, this is the problem, right? You have to have some form of in any capitalist society, you're still going to have some sort of welfare / and I hate to use the word, but socialist style programs to help that stuff out. It's the only way. It's the only way it can work. I think. I mean, you have to. You can't just have. I just don't think you can. Otherwise, you can't have just pure capitalism, because otherwise, then you're going to end up with massive tent cities. You know.
Hoovervilles.
Right. I mean, it's just not going to work. You're going to end up with what you had in the early part of the 20th century.
Right.
Where you had these shanty towns and everything else. So that's kind of where it's been going because of the disparities in incomes and everything else. But, you know, I'm by no means socialist,
Well,
but quite the opposite. But I mean, I do think you have to have some sort of welfare programs to help people out. Now, I mean, the question becomes, how do you really effectively, you know, and this is the whole point about, I guess, on the bond issue that we talked about, you know, with the bond settlement, with providing child care at the courthouse, providing cell phones, all that sort of stuff. At what point does the welfare, do you cut off the welfare? You know? I mean, somebody who is mentally unstable, who has a mental health issue, and is really, truly unable to care for themselves in a way, I mean, I think that's a situation you have to address. But somebody who's just not willing to get out there and work and better themselves and at least try to get the opportunities, that's a different story. And I'm not suggesting by any means that that's everybody who's homeless, okay?
Right.
Because it's not. Everybody's situation is different. But, you know, I think those on the conservatives on the right want to say, hey, look, you know, these people need to go out and get a job. Well, it's not that simple. And the people on the left want to say, well, we just need to help everybody out. And it's like, yeah, no. Some of these people, they don't need infinite help, you know? I mean, so we got to, that's the struggle we're having right now. And so I don't know how you get to a solution of that when you've just got these two, nobody seems to want to meet in the middle on anything. So how do you solve that basic thing when we can't come to a compromise on anything right now?
Easy. Tariffs.
Tariffs.
I'm kidding. No.
Is that your word for the day?
I was listening to NPR. So
course you were.
apparently, you know, the Michigan Wolverines, correct me if I'm wrong on the Facebook feed, they got the largest, or is it Ohio?
But nobody wants to comment or correct you on this other than
They have
how you
the
take the tie off.
largest stadium, college football stadium in the country.
Michigan.
It's Michigan.
Yeah.
Last month, that stadium, if you visualize it, I think it's like 110,000 people.
You're right.
That stadium, we've been to big games. We hear it, the roar, it's just this mass sea of people. Could not hold the amount of people that came over on the southern border last month, apprehended.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
All of those people need services.
Yes.
Now, at least while in the interim, I mean, if we were to release them, maybe, I don't know, tag and release, I don't know. Like give them a
Odds are
number and like an ID or something and release them, then I think, and give them the opportunity to work or do something, I don't know. But I know in the interim, if we're going to house all these people,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people.
It is.
And these people need help. How do we fix that?
Well, if you're the Department of Justice, you and they've come across the border and were deported before, you just charge them with illegal reentry and you give them
How quickly
pot
does
and 3 meals at the BOP.
How quickly does an illegal reentry case go into the federal system and to the point the individual enters, custody, out? And how are they just like flown and like dropped off somewhere?
What do you mean?
I'd imagine they're shipped to immigration and then the immigration flies them to they're not dropping them off at their doorstep or something.
How do they get deported?
Well, I'd imagine they're flying into some sort of major city and then just being released into, for example, if they're from Mexico, to the capital of Mexico and saying goodbye.
I'm not familiar with how the deportation.
I don't know how that
process
works,
So if
man.
anybody is, feel free to call in. Again, we got 10 minutes left in the show. 713-807-1794. You can call in and harass us about whatever you want. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. All those people need services.
They do. But again, most of them are going to get the service of going to the Bureau of Prisons, courtesy of the United States Department of Justice. If they've entered the country before and were deported, the odds are they're going to get, the right to eat an illegal reentry charge, and then go spend a vacation at the Bureau of Prisons for.
That might be a question for David Adler.
Of how they get deported?
Well, imagine the amount of attorneys that are going to be needed to process that.
It's already the issue. It's already an issue.
That's incredible.
There were in the Southern District and the Western District of Texas last year in 2018. Okay, there were over 8,000 cases filed in the Western District. It was in the Western District of Texas, which is basically, from San Antonio up to
El Paso.
Midland and out to El Paso. Okay, it covers all of West Texas, and then of course the Southern District goes from Brownsville all the way over to Beaumont. Okay, those were the two largest caseloads in the country of any federal districts. Western District was number one with a little over 8,000 cases filed. The Southern District, which Houston is in, had over 6,100 cases filed. The overwhelming majority in both of those, and they had the breakdown. You can if you go to the U.S. Sentencing Commission site, they have the 2018 source book up, and it breaks down everything by category. The overwhelming majority of the cases were immigration cases. The rest were guns and drugs. Okay, in the Southern District of Texas, where you had over 6,100 cases filed, over 5,000 of those cases were immigration offenses and drug offenses. Yeah.
It's a lot.
And the majority of the rest of the other 1,100 or 1,000 cases that were left, the majority of those were gun cases. Okay, the overwhelming majority, because what's happening is, and this is what's going on right now, is the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Texas and in many other districts, particularly here in Houston and a lot of major cities, they're going in and they are taking these robbery cases and that are typically charged by the state, where HPD or somebody goes in and takes them and arrests them. They're sitting in county, and they will drop a federal indictment for felon in possession of a firearm or brandishing a firearm in commission of a robbery case, and bring them over to federal court, where there's mandatory minimums and stacking of charges, and you can end up with, before you know it, you can end up with a 120-year sentence like that. And so that's where the priority has been, okay? Because what the feds are saying is, particularly here in Houston, they're saying, look, the state's not equipped to handle this, and our priority is violent crime, immigration, and drugs. Those are the three priorities right now. So, and the feds are going after them, particularly here in Houston, is what they're saying. They've hired a bunch of former Harris County District Attorney prosecutors to come over and prosecute these cases, because the numbers keep going up.
Do you think that is a Department of Defense, the prosecutorial arm of the government directive, or is that something that's local?
No, that's
we have Ryan Patrick that's in there, and he's.
It's coming from the top down, from the Attorney General's office in Washington. That's the priority of this administration, is guns, drugs, and immigration.
Well,
yeah,
they bring all of them.
Yeah, but what they're saying
I'm kidding.
What they're ultimately saying is the state of Texas, or whatever local prosecutor's office you have at the state level, they're basically saying these people can't handle it. We're better equipped to do it.
Are they?
I mean, they're better equipped to get a huge sentence that somebody's not going to get out on parole on.
I didn't realize that the Southern District has like 200 or 300 assistant U.S. attorneys. 250, 200, 220.
It's up there.
I didn't realize it was that.
Attorneys at this office.
Well, I knew that, but I just didn't expect the Southern District to be that big.
We're one of the largest districts in the country.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I might apply.
Well, you got to remember, but it's not just Houston.
Right.
They have offices in Brownsville, McAllen, Victoria, Beaumont. Galveston. They just put somebody back in Galveston. I think they'll have one prosecutor in Galveston, but. The Beaumont's in the eastern.
How'd you like to be the United States, the AUSA in Galveston? Like just one?
I mean,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I guess. Seems like it'd be kind of lonely.
Well, you get access to everything.
What do you mean?
You'd be hanging at Fertitta's like secret gambling spot. You'd be hanging with
secret gambling spot. What the hell are you talking about?
You'd be in the speakeasy.
Stuff up, man.
I'm kidding. I'm making stuff up.
I just think it'd be cool. The hot dog comment.
I think it'd be cool. Just saying.
I don't know.
To be the only law in town, that'd be tough.
I think it'd be lonely.
It would be extremely lonely. You'd have to be incorruptible.
I mean, I guess. Depending, I think, I don't know.
That's tough,
I guess
man.
Could be a secretary.
Well.
Or some sort of legal assistant, something. Somebody to help you out, answer the phones to help you so you're not doing everything. But I mean, that's where the priority is. And so, as much as, Kim Ogg ran on, her point was she was going to focus on violent crimes, right? Mm-hmm. And now, in a way, her priority is getting usurped by the DOJ. And they're coming in and they're taking all these people out of Harris County and prosecuting them on the federal side.
Well, not only taking the individuals, taking the prosecutors.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good prosecutors that have left the district attorney's office who are now.
That's absolutely true. We're over on that side of the street. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, so that's the ultimate question, right? Is going back, kind of looping back to the whole need for more prosecutors. Okay, so yes, obviously they have lost prosecutors. They've lost prosecutors to the U.S. Attorney's Office. They've lost prosecutors to just normal attrition of people wanting to leave the office. Their time is done. They want to go on to something else. They've lost prosecutors because maybe they don't want to be a part of this administration. They don't agree with the politics. They don't like the way they've been treated. They don't like the way the system's being run. They're overworked, underpaid. All those things happen. Okay, totally get that. My question is, where can we find the real story on the numbers? Because I know for a fact that a lot of the violent crime cases that are the priority of the current district attorney administration, a lot of those cases are getting sucked up by the feds and prosecuted on felon in possession charges, on interference with commerce by robbery charges. They're getting sucked up and put over there. And so, I mean, I don't have the exact numbers. I'd like to take a look at it and see, but I know the numbers from last year and what was going on and where the majority of the cases were being filed. And if it wasn't a drug case or an immigration case, like I said, of those 1,000 cases that were left, the overwhelming majority of those were these robbery cases, these robbery crew cases.
If this some of the stuff that we see and deal with every day they can't make a movie about it. They can't do it on TV because it's just too violent or too difficult too much for the viewer.
It is.
Just like these robbery cases, the gang violence in Houston is out of control. It just really is. These robberies that are going on, every time we turn on the TV, someone else is being shot. There's a rival gang member being shot dead, or there's a citizen that's being hurt.
Well, look, they had that string of burglaries in River Oaks the other day.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
where are we safe?
out in the country. You got to move out. You got to move out to Laurel County.
Oh well. Well, I'm still waiting. I gotta make that Jimmy money, you know, man. I gotta make that Jimmy money.
You gotta move out and set up your doomsday prepper bunker.
Well, Cloverfield.
Booby trap your entrance. So if somebody tries to come on your property, bam, up they go.
We'll let
you gotta do.
You know, maybe. No.
Legitimately, I do legitimately. I would like to see the stats. I mean, I know what the 2018 stats were for, again, for the Southern District of Texas. So I'd like to compare those. I mean, I just need to do the research, frankly, to be a little more informed on it. But I just wonder how many of the violent crime cases from last year that were the priority of the state got taken away from them and prosecuted in federal court.
You know,
I think the number's pretty high.
I agree. I agree, and I think the inside word on is that that's why a lot of the state prosecutors were taken. Well, not the sole reason, but
no, a lot
factor.
of them wanted out.
Right. Well, they wanted out, but they also had a particular set of skills that.
30 seconds left.
That would be good in the Fed side, you know.
All right, in the last 30 seconds. So, what do you think about the new setup here?
I like it.
Think it works?
Yeah, thumbs up, down, Facebook. What do you say?
Nobody's saying anything. I'm telling you, it's just nothing but so and so is watching. Which is good. We've got a lot of.
Is it still on?
Yeah, it's still on. It's still on. We've got to wrap this thing up, man. All right, so I don't know if we'll be on next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
I may not be here next week if you guys are still on, but
I'd like to keep the
we may
team
try
together.
this again. So we might try this setup again and try it with a guest next time. I know a lot of you are saying we need to go between two ferns style. That ain't gonna happen.
You want the two ferns?
We got one fern. We got one fern and a lava lamp. So that's what we got. Best we can do, folks. You got any parting words?
TV really does add like 15 pounds. I mean,
especially when you don't have the table to cover it up.
I know, man. I know.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna have to wear some like a male, what do they call it, Spanx? We have to wear that next time.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. We will see you next time. New episode of Reasonable Doubt. Good night.